All right, welcome to our webinar today. We're going to talk about how to build things yourself. To jump into things this morning, I'm going to play for you a short video that shares sort of how the world's been changing. Let me get set up. All right. You don't have to be paying too close of attention to recognize that the world has fundamentally changed and the pace of AI is impacting every area of life. And so we're excited to be able to share these group of webinars with people because my personal belief is that as leaders, we have to be willing to get our hands dirty in using AI. It's the only way to really understand what's possible and to be able to lead your team through that. For those of you that haven't met me, I'm Jonathan Wissman. I'm known as the sales boss based on a book that I wrote that became a bestseller about building high performance team. And I've spent my career helping organizations really perfect the people part of their business and that intersection with technology. And really today, that intersection between technology and people has become more interwoven than any before. AI is transforming every single industry. Automation is changing the way you work. And I believe there's never been a more important time than hiring A+ people and then equipping them with a supercomputer and getting out of the way. And it's amazing when you start immersing yourself in the pace of AI and you get your people comfortable with it, what they're able to accomplish. So our goal is to get people not only understanding what's possible, but also getting them comfortable so that they don't fear AI and they can actually put it into practice. So during our session today, we're going to focus on each of our webinars by doing something very specific that you can put into practice. So today we're going to give you the non-technical operator's guide to how do you ship real software with Claude Code. We're going to use GitHub, Supabase, Vercel. Don't worry, if you're not a developer, this is the right class for you. You don't need a background, even in AI, to be able to follow along. But what I hope that you'll get by the time you're here is you'll get the confidence and the know-how to be able to build those things that you've been thinking about in your mind. One of the things I recognize that when I'm working with people inside of companies is that many people have done some cool things with AI, and yet they sit on their computer and they never really get put into production. And for us as business owners, the key thing is to build things that we can actually create business value with. That's the work that we do every day. So I know some people will jump off a webinar early, so I'm going to share with you a special offer that we have coming out of this webinar. I'll share it again at the end. It'll make a lot more sense at the end, but we do a 3-day class here in Phoenix. It's 36 hours of AI development. And so we have $100 off for anybody that's coming to this webinar. You can use the code webinar100. We have our $100 off. So our general admission ticket is a full 2-day build. You're going to get your foundations. You're going to understand how do you build things as a Lego stack, and you're going to get really hands-on with the coaching. I know some of you that are on this call have already attended that. We do have a VIP seat for 14:55. We're going later into the evening, so we start at 8 a.m. We go to 8 p.m. And then we have a super VIP, and we're reserving Saturdays or the third day of the event, depending on what time of the week it is. And in that meeting, it's just you one-on-one with our head of marketing, our operations team, our branding and development team. And you're going to walk away with strategies and tools built for your business. So as we jump into things, I want to mention Who Hire specifically. I'm the CEO of Who Hire. I have with us on the call Regina. She's the founder. And our platform for Who Hire is developed to help you hire A-plus players. And we're continually moving this forward in terms of helping you also identify people that are going to be comfortable in the AI world. So let's jump into actually building things. I want to play for you a short video. It's the way that we think about AI and the way I would encourage you to be thinking and talking to your staff about AI. This video has been made 100% with AI, so enjoy watching it. Let me see.
Remember the first time you opened a box of Legos? Everything was sorted. Numbered bags, a step-by-step guide. You followed it piece by piece, and at the end, you had exactly what was on the box. A fire truck, a spaceship, a castle. It felt like magic. But here's the thing, you weren't building, you were following. Then something changed. Set after set, the pieces piled up. The instructions got lost. The original kits blurred together. And one day, you stopped reaching for the booklet. You just reached into the bin. You knew which block you needed by feel. You knew the long, flat ones gave you a foundation. The tiny ones added detail. The weird angled pieces? Those made it yours. You weren't following anymore, you were creating. Now look at where we are with AI. Thousands of tools, new ones every week. Every vendor has the must-have solution. Every headline says you're already behind. Your inbox is full of demos, your team is full of questions, and nobody can tell you what actually matters. It feels like someone dumped 10,000 Lego sets into a bin the size of a swimming pool, handed your team no picture of what to build, and said, "Good luck." That is not a strategy. That is chaos. But here's what we figured out. Underneath all that noise, all those tools, all those headlines, there are only 11 blocks. 11. That's it. Every AI tool you've ever seen, every capability that's keeping you up at night, every use case your competitors are chasing, it all maps back to 11 core building blocks. Each block has a purpose, what it does best. Each one has limitations, where it breaks down. And each one has possibilities, what it unlocks when you combine it with the others. When your people understand those 11 blocks, something clicks. The chaos goes quiet, the noise becomes a signal. They stop asking, which tool should I use? And start asking, what do I want to build? And then they reach into the bin, and they just know. And when your people understand the blocks, watch what becomes possible. A complete go-to-market strategy designed from the ground up. Cinematic video, text message campaigns, email sequences, paid digital, organic social, all built and launched by a team that used to need 6 months and a $250,000 budget to pull it off. A customer calls in with a problem they've never had before. Instead of, "Let me get back to you," your team builds a custom solution on the spot while the customer is still on the line. Your top sales rep's best pitch, the one that closes at 40%, turned into a training simulator that every new hire practices against before their first live call. A dashboard that doesn't just show you last month's numbers, but tells you which 3 deals are about to stall and exactly what to do about each one. One leader has been buried in 60 hours a week of admin. 11 blocks later, 20 of those hours are gone, and she's back to doing the work that actually moves the business. None of that is science fiction. All of it is 11 blocks, assembled with intention. This is what we're here to give you, not another tool demo, not a list of prompts to memorize that's outdated before you get back to the office. A framework. 11 blocks your entire team can learn, explore, and build with. Something that keeps it fun, keeps them curious, keeps them creating without tearing down what already works. Because the companies that win with AI won't be the ones who followed the best instruction booklet. It'll be the ones whose people learned the blocks so well they could build anything they imagined. 11 blocks. That's the whole game.
Awesome. So that video was created with a single prompt in NVIDIA. So amazing when you think about what's possible now. That used to would have been a $10,000 investment just to get to that sort of thing. But we want people to think about AI as building blocks. Think about it like Legos. So there's a constant stream of new tools coming out, new models coming out. And the best position for you to be as a leader of your organization is to just think about it as blocks. So you're going to have a new language block. Next week, there'll be a better, faster one. And you want to just build things in a way you can unplug that Lego, plug a new one in, not be afraid to just work with the tools that make sense. So everything we teach is going to build upon the next thing. I want to just share with you when we're jumping into building it yourself, our team builds every single day. So I have on the call with me Lenka. She's our CFO, and I got to call her our chief AI strategist because she's constantly building. I think she burns through more credits than anyone on the planet. But Lenka, just share a quick preview of some of the things that you've built. And if as you're watching her go through that, I want you to think about what are the kinds of tools that if you had it in your business or you could offer it to your customer would make a difference. Everything Lenka is going to show you uses the 4 blocks we're going to show you today. And we're going to walk you through very specifically how to set it up. We're going to ask you to get on your computer. This is a workshop. We're not just going to teach you. We're going to get you hands-on and actually building things. So Lenka, with that, share away for a few minutes. Tell us what you built.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. So, hi, everyone. Yes, as Jonathan mentioned, I am not a developer. I don't know anything about coding. I didn't know anything about Claude Code, Vercel, GitHub before we started with AI, but I learned as I go and I build new things every single day. So, I'm going to share my screen and show you some of the things that we are building or have built so far. So let me just jump right in. All right, so one of the examples is a portal for our events. For example, this one is for the AI event. This is on the admin access side of things, where we have all the upcoming events with what the attendees can see. We have the daily agendas, the items that are going to be discussed every day. We have surveys, we have live check-in. So anytime someone comes in, we can see exactly who is checking in when, where, what time, and all of that. And this is one of the things that was built using Claude Code to start with, deploying in Vercel with GitHub and Supabase as well. So something for events. On the other side, for example, here we have built a marketing dashboard with upcoming events, a deadline tracker, and with projects and campaigns. Uh, this all started as a whiteboarding session. We took the photos from the whiteboarding sessions, put them into Claude Code, and started working again, the same 4 tools. And now we have a live dashboard that keeps updating every day with any new updates, any new communication, meetings, trackers, and all of that. So we have, for example, the funnels, the creatives, timelines, all the data that needs to be in there. And the whole team has access to it. They can use built-in AI to add in details as well. So again, all of it built with those 4 things that Jonathan will show you how to do.
Yeah, awesome. So hopefully, as you see those things, it starts getting your juices running. I've built a bunch of tools for myself. I have my AI assistant called Vera. She posts videos of herself, pictures of herself. She comments in our Slack channel. She checks my email. My team can ask her to get on my calendar. All of that is built exactly with the tools we're going to share with you today. So before we get deep into the actual build, I want to create a frame because I know we have people at a wide variety of skill level here. So I promise you, if you're here, even if you have a lot of experience with this. You're going to learn some new things, but we're going to touch on a couple of key things as we start um, to just help give a frame. The nice thing about AI, while there's 1,000 tools out there, they all run exactly the same way. So today we're going to use as our primary tool Claude, and we're going to use Claude Code. But once you learn Claude, ChatGPT, Manus, GenSpark, Perplexity, LoveArt, all of the other tools work exactly the same. So if you've been in the world of AI, you keep hearing this term agent. You might even have heard terms like agentic swarm. How do you know you're dealing with an agent? Well, it's really simple. This box where it says, "Good afternoon, Jonathan," and there's a place for you to text, that's an agent. A general agent is something like Perplexity, GenSpark, Claude. It does a lot of different things. And then you have specialist agents, which might be something like LoveArt, which creates visuals, or Sunos, which creates music, Napkin, which creates graphs and charts in video, that creates the video that I just shared with you earlier. But to help your team not feel overwhelmed, recognize that every single AI tool works exactly the same. It's going to have an interface that looks like this. And it's important for you to just start thinking of your tools as as human beings, as employees. You're going to have, as I said before, general agents and specialist agents. And you're going to also then connect them to your computer being the literal computer that you run in every day, your laptop or your desktop. And then you're going to have connectors. Think of connectors as things like Gmail, Slack, Google, and we're going to talk about something called an MCP server. You're actually going to use it today. But the reason it's important to think about AI in this way is it gives your team and yourself a mental frame. When you're thinking of an agent, just think of it as a literal employee that's sitting there. And when you hire an employee, isn't it true that an employee either comes with skills or you have to teach them skills? You have to give them the operating manual for your company. You have to give them context for how your company is different than the other companies. And you also have to give them access to a computer and all of the tools that would be necessary to do their job. So that might be things like Gmail, Slack, Google. When you're inside of a chat agent, you're accomplishing exactly those sort of things. So if you go back to Claude as an example, you'll see at the bottom, you have this ability to add things from Drive, from Calendar, from Gmail, and you have the thinking agent always in the bottom right. Every single tool works exactly that way. So when you think about your organization, just think about it as a generalist employee, somebody you might hire to do a lot of things, right? They come with a little work experience, they're capable, but they're not a specialist. As opposed to an experienced employee, let's say you hire somebody from Apple's design department, right? If that was their background, you would expect that they would come already knowing the fundamentals of design. They would have experience with all of the latest tools. That's not a skill that you would have to give them. So you're going to think about AI exactly the same way. We're going to work in this generalist employee area today. And we're also going to talk to you about how to give skills to those. So skills are just a library of tools that you can give to your AI agent. So you can teach them how to write, how to design, how to solve problems. There's entire code libraries where other people have already written the SOPs for you. So think of skills exactly like you would think of a SOP that you might give an employee, right? You might tell an employee, here's our SOP for how we do things in Slack or where we store things in our Google Drive. These are the pieces that we're going to accomplish. So let's jump into actually building something today. We're going to use 4 tools together. We're going to use Claude Code. We're going to use GitHub, we're going to use Supabase, and we're going to use Vercel. By the time we're done, you're going to understand what all of those are. You're going to understand how they connect together. And in the chat, if you would, just put how many of these tools, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4, that you've actually used. So 1 if you've only been in one of them. And Claude Code specifically, not Claude Chat, not Claude Cowork, but Claude Code would be 1, GitHub would be 1, Supabase, and Vercel. If you just put them in the chat so we can sort of get a sense of the experience of the group, All right. All right. We got 1, 4, 3, 3, 2. All right. Great. All right. We're going to learn, learn, learn. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. None of them. All right. One or two. Awesome. All right. Well, no worries. We're going to, while you're here today, before we're done, you're not necessarily going to have a finished product, but you are going to have a live product up on a web address that you could text somebody, somebody could interact with, and it's going to cost you nothing to do that other than you need to have a paid version of Claude Code, because that's the only way that you can use Claude Code, and you're going to have a launched product. So one of the things to recognize when you're going into coding with AI is to realize that you're not actually ever going to code anything. You're not learning to program. It's not necessary. You simply have to describe what it is that you want, wait for it to come back, and explain the gap between this idea that's in your head and the thing on the screen. And the tool is going to go about working with it. That's why I want you to think about it like an employee, right? If you had an employee, you would go describe your idea to the employee. They would go do that. They would bring it back to you and you'd give them feedback. And the more descriptive you are, the more exact you are in what it is that you want, and the better skill they have, the more the output of that thing is going to match what it is you want. So when you're thinking about programming with AI, or building with AI is probably a better term, don't think about telling it exactly how to do something. Talk about what you want it to do. What should it look like? What should it accomplish for the user? And we're going to walk you through all that. If you can describe something clearly, then you have the ability to build it. So the people who are going to win aren't going to be the people that are the best programmers, the best typists. The kind of human that wins in the age of AI is people that have an ability to think really clear and to describe the thing that is in their mind. The second piece of this is a skill of being able to look at a lot of options and have tastes, right? And we think about tastes with art and music and food, but we also want to start hiring humans that have this ability to see 1,000 ideas and pick the one that actually will work in the environment that you're operating in. So let's start then with, and we're going to put a link in the chat. So I want you to click on it. We're going to stop typing completely, and I'm going to give you a tool called WhisperFlow. So you can go to WhisperFlow AI. It'll be in the chat link if you can drop that there. Go ahead and click on that if you don't have WhisperFlow, and you're going to download it. It's a free tool for 14 days, so it's not going to ask you for a card, and it's going to allow you to just speak to your computer. And you're going to find the more you speak to your computer, the easier it's going to be for you, because no matter how fast a typist you are, I promise you, you audit yourself when you type. It's exhausting, but the speed at which you can talk is much better. So when you're talking to your computer, you're going to want to just talk in your natural language. The advantage of WhisperFlow, so you should all be going to a screen like this. You're just going to go up to Get Started on Mac OS, click that, download it. Let's give a thumbs up or something in the chat when you have this and you're ready to go. We're going to start a little timer, give people an opportunity to catch up. So just type go when you're ready to move on. All right. Dr. B, she's fast. Oh, wait, she's been to our class before. All right. WhisperFlow. Philip, yes. You'll never go back. I started using WhisperFlow, I think it was about 6 months ago, and I rarely touch my computer to type anymore. All right, so all right. If you can in the chat, once you have it, just hit go. And all right, Greg. Good, good. Okay, if anybody needs help with that, you can type help and we'll put you in a breakout room with one of my team. They'll get you sorted out. All right, Latoya, give me the heads up when it's safe to move on. All right, how we going? Let's again, if you have it downloaded, put go in the chat. That way I can know when most of the groups are ready to go. Thank you, Venetia. Will, thank you. Greg, thank you. Okay, Dr. D, pain in the ass. Yes, still working on it. I promise you, once you get it, though, this is going to be amazing for you. So, and you're here with a patient group of people that are going to help you get through this. I'll talk to you about some of the beautiful functions of Whisper on the Mac, the world symbol on your keyboard, all the way down on the left. Cheryl, it's no worries. We're downloading Whisper, so you can go to whisperflow.ai. If you don't have it, get it downloaded. This is an active workshop, so we're building. But the bottom left world on the Mac is you can click that, you'll just speak and it'll go right into any interface. The nice thing about WhisperFlow is if you start talking and you restart and you re-explain yourself, it edits it all dynamically so that it comes through clean. It's not like Siri. It gets 99.9% right, even when you're whispering. So it's perfect when you're on your phone. I've literally used it on an airplane sitting next to somebody they can't hear you. So whisperflow.ai. Let's get it downloaded. Philip, I see you're on and you've already got it downloaded. Tell me something you've built since our last AI course. Just come off mute if you're all right with it.
Uh, in the space of about 20 hours, I launched a 186-page website, researched just about every accounting firm in the entire country and ranked them according to their use of AI by market. There's over 126 markets on the page on the website. The
Nice.
website's live, by the way, right now.
Awesome. And if you want to drop that website in the chat, feel free. People can check it out. I want people to get used to what can be built. Phil, before you came to the course, where would you have ranked your experience with AI?
I would have called myself a two.
Yeah,
Probably because I didn't understand how large the universe was.
yeah.
Now the universe is much larger, and I'm probably a one.
That's how I feel. The more you jump in, the more you realize there is out there. But here's what building something will do, and I'm sure you experience this, is it boosts your confidence about just exploring. It's really hard to mess something up. So Philip just put that in there, human in the loop accountant. So again, if you've downloaded Whisper, put go in the chat. I'm going to give it about 2 more minutes, and then we're going to move on. You will have time to catch up because we do have some work sessions here. By the time we get to the end of our time together, I'm going to give you some prompts. You're going to be able to see something live being built. So, all right. I'm going to move on. Feel free to continue to work downloading that. You're definitely going to want to have it because it's going to help you keep up and move even faster. Let's talk about the 4 tools that we're going to use. I want you to think about this visually. I always try to put things in a real world environment. As an example, when you think about computer files, I literally think of the old fashioned, file drawer that opens and there's files there and they're labeled and the things inside that. Visualizing where things exist, even in a digital world, will give you context about where to find things and how do they fit together. So I want you to think about these 4 tools just as a literal shop. Think about a storefront that you're maybe opening in the physical world, and you're the boss on the outside. You're not the coder, and you're going to talk to Claude Code. Claude Code is going to be the primary uh, large language model that you're going to use. But I want to caution you in the world of AI, don't fall in love with just one AI. ChatGPT, there's hundreds of them. If you learn to use Claude, you can use all of them. They all work very much the same way. Just like if you get in a car, there's a steering wheel, there's a gas pedal, right? There's usually a knob for the radio, might be in a slightly different place. But once you've driven one car, you pretty much can drive any car. This is the way to think about your large language model. So your Claude Code is going to be your engineer. It's the primary place you're going to speak and have things built. The next tool that you're going to have is GitHub. And GitHub is what's known as a code repository. That's just big words to say GitHub is where you store all of your files and your code so your online program knows where to find it. The nice thing about GitHub is that every time you save, it saves the last version. So let's say you do version 3 and you say, hey, this is terrible. I liked version 1 much better. You can simply tell Claude, let's go back to version 1, and it's going to roll back and undo all of those changes, right? So no need to be horrified. GitHub is going to become your repository. So for you, just think of it as a vault. It's a storage place for all of the code for your system. We're going to hook that up today. If you don't have a GitHub account, we're going to get you signed up for one. It's free. We're going to show you how to connect it. And secondly, GitHub is also a place where other people store their code, and many organizations have what they call open source code, meaning you can go out, you can search for things other people have built, you can copy their code, and you can deploy it inside of your program. So GitHub is going to become a great place for you to learn and to explore. It can seem technical, but know that once you sign up, if you do nothing else with it, it'll still serve your purposes. But I'm going to encourage you, once you're signed up, to get in, play with it, learn more. GitHub's been around a long time. The last tool or the next tool that you're going to use is Vercel. Vercel is where your web address is going to live. When you push code live onto the internet, that's where it's going to live. You can get your domain name there. So as an example, if I want to put something on the Sales Boss, I buy the domain name, the Sales Boss. Normally you might buy those from a place like GoDaddy or Namecheap. You can buy those directly through Vercel and all of the back-end analytics. So when you're trying to think about who's visiting my site, what kind of traffic is there, what's the speed traps, all of that's baked into Vercel. Now, there's a lot of products that you could use to push code to. I'm teaching you Vercel because it's quickly becoming the go-to solution for these kinds of programs. And for somebody that's a beginner, it's very easy, but also some of the most advanced platforms on the planet are also running on Vercel. So you're going to be able to grow your abilities without changing platforms on Vercel. The last tool that you're going to use is Supabase. And Supabase, think about it like the back office. It is a database. So if you've used Excel, you've used Google Sheet, right? And you're storing people's first names and their last names and their addresses and how many things they bought, and you're putting that in a spreadsheet. That's the database that runs your website. So when you have a piece of code that asks somebody for their password, it's going into Supabase. It's comparing what's on record for their passcode, and then it's either approving or denying them. These four pieces together, Claude Code, GitHub, Vercel, and Supabase, gives you everything you need to build a full functioning website. Now, we're going to talk about how do you expand that? How do you put other tools in there? But this loop of putting things in Claude Code, it's just going to live in a window on your computer. You're going to describe what you want in plain English. It's going to write the software. And you want to think of this like a master carpenter. It never gets tired. Your job is just to be clear about what you want. You don't necessarily, if you think about a carpenter, if you had him into your house, you could describe what you wanted to happen in your master bedroom or your bathroom or your living room. And that carpenter's job would be to select the right tool and do it. So when you're talking to Claude Code, you don't have to describe how, you're just going to describe what. Again, GitHub, every save point, you're keeping it forever. You want to think about it like a time machine bolted to a safe. It's going to photograph exactly where things are at a certain point in time. And whenever you want to go back to that because you messed something up, you just go, I want to go back one version. I want to go back two versions. It's going to take care of it. And Vercel, again, think about this like the window display, right? It's going to change itself based on what you put to GitHub, and it'll just be live on the internet. You can put passwords on there. You can do all of the other things. In Vercel or in Supabase, this is your place your data lives. There's one note you're going to want to take, and I'm going to repeat it a couple of times. Inside of Supabase, you're always going to want to instruct it to use row level security. Row level security. You should write that down. Very first time you get into Supabase, you always want to mention row level security. What does row level security do? It means that every person that enters your website can only see the row in your database that you've given them permission to see. This prevents people from running away with all of your data. So super simple to do. You're literally just going to tell Claude Code, please use row level security when you set up my Supabase. All right, so this is the whole loop. Claude Code, GitHub, Vercel, putting it into Supabase. So let's get started on how do we actually build this together. So again, there's going to be 3 habits that are going to make you really good. You're going to describe just the outcome. You're not going to tell it which code to write. You're just going to direct it in terms of describing what you want, not how you want it. You're going to constantly save. So anytime you leave, you want to push it out to GitHub. And it's better to think small. Just do a few features at a time, get it live, get it working. Because if you try to build the whole thing all at once and try to ship it, there's 2 things that are going to happen. You're going to forget how it all pieces together, and you're probably never going to get something launched. And that feeling of launching something is something that will really pay off for you. So let's go ahead and open our 4 free accounts. The first thing you want to decide is which email are you going to build your businesses under. I know many of us have lots of emails. I have a sales boss email, a who hire email, I have a personal email. When you're building in Claude Code, you want all of your tools that you're going to connect to use the exact same email. This allows Claude to easily make sure all of these tools recognize each other. So what we're going to do is one of the simplest path. We're going to have you sign up at GitHub, and then you're going to use GitHub to create Supabase and Vercel accounts, because there's a button that'll say continue with GitHub. Just by doing it that way, your Claude Code is going to know all of these 3 things belong together. So I'm going to show you a quick video of how that's done. And link it. If you can drop the GitHub link, we'll want to click over there and use that. So you're going to use 1 login, 3 tools. This is what the GitHub page looks like. You can either use the continue with Google, or you can do a traditional sign up here. There's nothing special. It's the way you've signed into every business. You're going to create your account. And then after you go to GitHub and you're signed up, you're going to go to Supabase, supabase.com, and you see the button continue with GitHub. Don't use your email here. Use continue with GitHub. That way you don't have a second password. And then the third thing you're going to go to is Vercel, vercel.com. We're going to drop all of these in the link. You're going to again say continue with GitHub. All right. So now you have 3 accounts, 1 password. You have GitHub, you have Supabase, you have Vercel. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, or actually I'm going to share my screen here. This is what GitHub will look like once you're logged in. All you have to do is start the account, and then you can close it. And then you're going to go directly to Vercel, which will look something like this. Once you're logged in, you can see all the projects that we have. And then you're going to have Vercel. All right. Anybody that needs help, feel free to come off mute or drop it in the chat. This normally takes about 5 minutes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for my team, I'm trying to all be on the same account, and I just invited them to GitHub. But when you're in Vercel, it's like by project. So
yes. Yeah. So in Vercel, you'll invite them to the entire Vercel instance, or you can just invite them to specific projects. You can do either one.
Okay, but I have to create the project first.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can you see my screen right now, or I'm not? Am I sharing my screen? No.
No,
Let me,
no, you're not.
Let me go and share my screen. So Dr. B, right up in you're in here. You can just go down to settings. Usually it's in settings. And you'll have your team here. And you can add team members. Do you see where that's at? So if you want to add your team, that's where you would do it. And you can have members down here on the members page. So go to settings, and then members. And the nice thing is in the bottom right, you have a chat. You can always ask a question and it'll get it done for you. We only have one piece left to wire up and then we'll get building into the exciting things. It's when the magic will start happening. All right. When you are ready to move on, if you can just put go in the comments, not to put pressure on anyone, but just to give us a sense of people are there. This really should take about 5 minutes at the most, unless you're having some sort of technical difficulty. All right. Scott's in, Venetia's in, Philip's in. Thank you. Thank you for participating. That's helpful. If you've just joined, we're setting up the 3 tools, GitHub, Vercel, Supabase. We want you to start with GitHub and then use GitHub to sign into Vercel and Supabase. All right, Charlotte, ready to go. All right. Melanie, Dr. D, good. We're getting close. I'm going to give 2 more minutes or so. So if you think back to our shop that we're building, you've opened up your vault, you've opened up your storefront, you've opened up your storage. The last thing we need to do then is to open up your Claude Code account. So if you don't have Claude Code installed on your desktop, you're going to need to download the app. It's at claude.com/Claude-code. If we can drop that in the chat. You'll see a window that looks like this that says download for Mac OS or for Windows, and you're just going to simply download that. Now, if you've been accessing Claude in the browser, it's not the same thing. Let me explain the difference between the tools in a minute, but if you're in your window, a web window, Chrome, Safari, you're not in the right place. You want to actually install it as a program on your hard drive. So you're going to go to download for Mac, download for Linux or Windows. And then you're going to install it. You're going to install it the same way you install every other program that you've ever downloaded on your computer. You're just dragging the icon over, waiting for it to install, and giving it a double click and opening it. Thank you, Dr. D. Is that a go on Claude Code as well? Speedy. All right, ready to roll. Once you have Claude Code downloaded, open it up on your desktop. So you'll notice on my screen, I'm not in a browser. I am in an app that is open on my computer. I'm not in the browser. And once you have that open, give me a go in the comments and we will continue to go. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good. All right. Nice. All right. Okay. I'm going to talk about the 3 tabs that you're going to see in Claude, and I'm going to explain briefly the difference. You have 3 tabs. One is chat. The next tab is co-work, and the last tab is code. From this day forward, I'm going to be bold enough to say you'll always want to use code. Chat and co-work are, if you think about it this way, chat is sort of like if you call a chef for advice, they're going to give you great answers. They're going to tell you how to do things, but it's not able to see or do anything in your actual kitchen, right? Just imagine calling on the phone. Think of chat as the phone. Co-work is you're able to give Claude work to do. It gets done on their servers. It's sort of like getting delivery, right? So you're never going to see it happen. You're not going to control it. You don't have to do any setup. That's the nice part. But Cowork can't actually work with anything that's on your hard drive where all of your files are. It doesn't necessarily connect to all your business systems unless those business systems are in the cloud. But Code allows you to think of it like having a chef in your kitchen. It can touch all of your equipment. It can use your ingredients. It can get feedback from you. So that's the thing you're going to use, Code. Now, if you look at it on the screen, it is Claude Code here. If you're on home, you're going to see that you have your regular chat functionality. You're going to switch over to Code, and you're going to see where it says new and routines and dispatch and customize. This is going to tell you you're in the right place. All right. So let's start our first session. We're going to build something here. So you're going to create a local folder. If you don't have a local folder, you're going to create one, which is this button right here. If you can see it, I have a local folder called Vera. If you don't have a folder sitting there, you're going to click plus and you're going to name a folder. This is simply a folder that's going to sit for now on your hard drive that's going to have everything you create with Claude Code. Now, you could open more than one folder. I would just create something that's top level. You can work in that same folder for all of your projects while you're getting started. All right, so click, name the folder. It doesn't matter what you name it, just remember what it's called. Make it make sense to you. The next thing that you're going to focus on, you don't see any of that. All right, Rachel, are you on Claude Code? There's no plus sign. All right, let me see. Just type open a local folder, and that'll help you. And make sure you're in code. So if you click on can you click on the local folder? So you could try typing. That's another thing you can always do. You can say, help me get started. I need to open a local folder to store my projects. That should get it done for you. Now, I'm going to explain. Rachel, maybe we can have somebody jump in a breakout room for you, look at your screen, if that's helpful for you. Say yes if you like to do that, and somebody will put you in a breakout room. They can look at your screen and help you. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm in Claude Code. This is this chat window is where you're going to do everything. If you'll notice down at the bottom here where my screen says bypass permissions, if you click on that, I want you to notice that there's modes that you can program in. Manual, accept edits, plan, auto, and bypass permissions. What does that mean? Manual and accept edits means every time you ask Claude to do something, it's going to propose a solution. It's going to show you an example of it. And then you have to say, yes, I want to do this. So nothing changes until you say yes. All the way down to planning, which is Claude is planning out the entire project for you, and then you accept it, all the way down to bypass permissions. So while you're getting started, I would say stay in the accept edits range. It's going to go a little slower for you, but it's going to allow you to keep up. It's going to allow you to reverse things. And the bypass permissions is where I run at. Bypass permission means that Claude has the ability to not ask your permission to look at your files, to access your other programs, that if it has access, if you've given it access, it can automatically do that without asking in the future. So once you get used to what's happening and you want to move faster, I would just put this down to bypass permissions. Now, most of the time that's really safe because you have GitHub, you can roll things back. And if you're smart, you just don't put private access into Claude unless you know exactly what you're giving it. So, and we're going to talk about that. The other thing to notice at the bottom is you have this plus button at the bottom, which is going to allow you to add files, photos, folders, slash commands, which are really just shortcuts for skills, and then connectors. Connectors are how do you connect to Gmail? How do you connect to Slack? How do you connect to all of the other tools that you want your employee to have access to? The employee in this case being Claude, right? So just for orientation, that's where it is at. One of the things that's going to be super helpful for you, as you describe to Claude what you want, if you're lost or you get an error message or something you don't understand, just take a screenshot of it, drop it in the chat box and say, explain to me what this means. What are my options? What should I do next? And it is a super patient employee. It doesn't mind answering your questions in really minute detail. You can say to it, I'm not a developer. Explain each step in plain English. Tell me exactly what to do. And it's going to walk you through step by step how to do that. The next thing you're going to notice in this window is on the bottom right. Right now you can see mine says Opus 5. You can open that and you can use different models. And models are just the type of reasoning that the system's using. I have a slide to explain what each of these are, but an easy way to think of it is the smartest, fastest, most expensive model is at the top. So think about that like asking, if you're in a company, you're asking a high level, experienced employee that you're going to spend a lot of money with, all the way down to, in this case, Haiku, which is simply fast, easy, still smart, still can get things done. For most of the things you're going to want to do, you're going to want to work in this Sonnet 5. And then as you get to more complex things, things that require more strategy, you're going to upgrade and you can switch back and forth even inside of one chat. That's the way to think of this. If you want to control your cost, you're gonna go down just like you're gonna, when you think about in your physical business, you want the most capable employee to handle it. You don't want to be handling administrative tasks, right? To somebody that's a very skilled developer or a skilled executive. You're going to hand that to the intern in this case, right? Haiku would be the intern in this case. All right. So that's the place that we're at. Now, what we need to do is we need to hand the keys to the builder. So remember, we have the builder, we've got chat. Now we're going to connect GitHub and Supabase. Here's how you're going to do it. You're going to do this in 3 clicks. Right on the bottom screen, I'm going to show you where that's at. Right here, you're going to click this plus. You're going to go to connectors. And you notice when I hover over that, I have all of these things I'm connected to. So I'm connected to Calendly, to Close, to Fathom, to Figma. There's thousands of connectors out there. You're going to go browse connectors. And you're going to type in GitHub. So you're going to click plus. You can type GitHub here. And it should come up. And I'm already connected, so it won't come up for me. So I'm going to give you time to do that. You want to connect your GitHub.
Hey, Jonathan, mine's not coming up. I put GitHub at the top and I don't see it on the list.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't find mine either, Jonathan.
For me.
Okay, so we're going to go, let's go to a custom connector then. Manage, browse, connectors. Let me. Yeah, connectors. Where do you see it? Right here. Manage connectors.
Jonathan, if I may.
Yep, you want to take over?
So
Oh,
if
it's
you
right
can
up
go
here.
into settings,
Yep.
I have noticed that they have recently moved it, probably in the last day or two, from connectors to a separate section.
Okay.
So if you close this pop-up and bottom left, go into settings,
Okay.
click on your name, then settings, organization settings in this case. And then under libraries and access in the left menu. Yeah. Do you have organization access, or is that the personal one?
I'm on personal.
Yeah. So if you have a single user license, that's fine, that you would have only one settings. But because we are part of the team, we need to go on the organization settings and then scroll down to the bottom in the left menu, and you
Right here.
see GitHub is separate now.
They moved it out because everybody needs it.
Yes.
There you go. All right, thank you for that. Everybody find it?
Can you
Could
back
you
up?
repeat that again with the organization?
Yep.
Going into the
So,
organization?
yep, I'm going to show you again. I'm down here. If you have an organization, right, where you have your whole team, you're going to have organization settings. If not, you're just going to go into your personal settings. We're in an organization, so you'll be here and you'll just scroll down the left-hand side. You'll see GitHub there, and then you can connect it. Okay, and you're just going to hit connect. Does that make sense? I'm not going to do it because we're already connected, and you can see that because it shows it connected and also connects here. Okay. So I'm going to go one more time, and I'll actually show it from my personal this time, which I haven't been in forever, but oh, maybe I don't want to. Oh, I don't have Claude Code on. No, I do. All right.
It also looks like we might have to connect it to the browser as opposed to the app.
No, you connect it to your, what it'll do is it's going to open a browser. It's going to open a browser just for you to authorize GitHub. It'll open up and you'll put your code in, and then you're connected. Yeah. So anytime you're connecting something, your Claude's likely going to open a browser window for you, and that's where you're going to put your code in. Okay. Now, if you've already got that done, you're going to now go over and you're going to attach Vercel. You're going to open your settings in the sidebar. This time you're going to go settings and connectors, and you're going to hit add in the top right, and you're going to do this add custom connector. When you add custom connector, you're going to name this custom connector Vercel. And then the URL, you're going to use this address right here that's on my screen. And if we can drop that in the chat as well.
Hey, Jonathan, mine
Yep.
keeps connecting on, I'm connected on my browser, Claude, but when it kicks back to my desktop on my Mac, it's not connected.
All you're going to do is, once you've done it, you're going to close your desktop and reopen it. Sometimes that'll connect it.
Perfect.
It's sort of the unplug. So I've dropped the link in there, mcp.vercel.com. There you go. So once you've connected those two things, just log out of your desktop, Claude, and reopen it, and then go into the chat window, and you can ask it what projects you have open in Vercel, or what things do you have in GitHub, and it will tell you that it's connected. So you're going to want to verify that you're connected. When you have these connected, if you can put in the chat GH and Vercel, I'll know that you've got those two ready to roll, and I'll get ready to move on. Give us some feedback on how you're doing. The nice thing is you only ever have to do this once. This is the hardest part. All right, got GitHub. Let's put Vercel in. Again, I'll show you where that's at. You come in to connectors on the bottom side, upper right, the add button. I'm showing it on my screen. It's going to open add custom connector. The name is going to be Vercel. The remote MCP server URL is in the chat. Should be https://mcp.vercel.com.
Keep getting an error when I'm trying to when I try to connect. It says can't register with Vercel sign-in service.
With what?
It says couldn't register with Vercel sign-in service. You can try again or add. Not sure.
Try asking in the chat specifically what you should do next. Anytime you're stuck, just ask in the actual chat box. Were you on the custom connection?
Yes.
Okay.
I put in the URL. Hold on, let me see. Let me try it again.
Try typing in the chat. Find the MCP server for Vercel and give me the URL, and it'll go out and search for one for you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Part of that is things online are changing super fast, so sometimes they just move the location. So they might have a different URL.
Can you say that one more time, Jonathan? I'm connected to GitHub, the connector, but it doesn't seem that Claude can see that, even though when I look at my list of connectors, GitHub is there, it's confirmed.
Okay, then you're in good shape. If it's confirmed, you're in good shape. You just don't have anything on there yet.
Okay, because I asked it, can it validate whether or not it's connected, and it said that it's not, but I see the
Okay.
connector.
Yeah, then you're connected, and
Okay.
we'll prove that in just a minute. Did you get Vercel connected?
It can't see Vercel either, so I was backing up to GitHub.
Okay. So I'm gonna just write in this where I describe a task. I'm gonna use Whisper. I'm gonna say, can you find me the MCP server for Vercel? I'm just gonna ask it like that, and it should come back with an answer. Okay. Also, if you don't want to use the MCP server, it looks like they've added in the normal connectors. So if you just go up to your normal connectors, you should be able to just type Vercel there. And now there's one there. So you see it? So you could just try adding it there. So let's try adding it directly. You would just click on it and scroll down to the bottom and just use defaults. So the order normally when you're trying to, they call these MCP connectors or connectors. You're always going to try searching in the directory first. If there happens to be one there, click on it. It's the easiest way. And then do the custom connectors. And that changes weekly. So you could have somebody that doesn't have a connector in the marketplace and they have a custom one. you'll add the custom one. The only difference, it means Claude, if it's not in their official connectors list, they haven't verified that it works. So Vercel obviously has now been verified, so it's in the marketplace. All right, if you have those connected, good, Scott got it, logged out of Vercel and it worked. All right, great. If you have those two connected, if you can just put GitHub and Vercel in the comments. Okay, Chris, yes, you had to do it a few times also. Yeah, that's the nature of things. It's the old unplug it, restart.
Do you have to select a team? Because I'm on where it's saying Claude AI is requesting access to your Vercel account.
Yep,
So you select the team
yep,
and add and allow.
that's it. All right, Venetia, success. Regina, success. Awesome. All right. We are now going to build things together. If you don't have Vercel and GitHub connected yet, you can still follow along with where we're going. Everything will work. You just won't be able to push it live until you get those connected. My team's happy to stay on and help you connect those things. Let's go back to talking about one other thing that will allow you to open up the kinds of things that you're able to do. I want you to look at the screen and let's talk about two terms that you're going to hear over and over again, MCP or API. If you've been in programming at all, you've heard of an API. An API is really just the way one software calls another software, right? So if you have a program like your CRM and you want to connect it to a new app that you're building, you're going to do that through an API. If you want to connect it to a large language model, you'll use what's called an API. An MCP connector is really just an API, but it's wrapped with a large language model. So you're able to just click a connector and it figured out how to connect all of your things together without you thinking about it. If you're working in your large language model, your chat, Claude, ChatGPT, you'll always be able to use an MCP connector for 99% of things while you're building. Why would you still use an API? This is where it really matters if you want to do real work in your business. When you have something living in the cloud, you're not going to have a large language model on your desktop connected to it. You're not going to have an MCP. So you'll need to connect an API, right? You're going to have to say, this is how this piece of software talks to this piece of software. So think about it this way. An API is like a direct phone call. It's just computer to computer. An MCP connector is just like a saved list in your phone book, right? So it can say, call my CRM, call Lenka, call Regina, call Philip. It already knows the phone numbers. It already knows the address. It's got everything figured out. So when you use an API, it's always going to ask you for a passcode. So as an example, for those of you that are familiar with Stripe, Stripe is a platform that allows you to accept credit cards online. It allows you to accept payments. So if you're building an app that needs payment, you're going to use an API to connect your app, your Vercel, to Stripe. You're going to log into your Stripe account. You're going to go down to developers and you're going to ask for your API code. It's going to usually be a really long string that looks like this, sk-live-4ec39. It's this really long thing. It's really important that you keep that secret. That is your password. And it's usually called a secret. Think of it like giving somebody your credit card number. If you gave somebody your credit card number, you gave them all of your personal detail, they're going to be able to spend your money, right? They're going to be able to do things on your behalf. This API passkey is always going to live in what they call an environment variable. You're never going to post that inside a Claude. I'm going to show you where to put it. But why am I telling you about an API now? Because this is really how your entire system, when you build real world things, works. You're going to have your app, what we've just been talking about. You have your Supabase database, but you're going to go and reach through an API out to other things. As an example, if your app needs to do payments, you're going to reach over to Stripe and use Stripe through an API. If you want to use an AI model, so imagine you want to use ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other large language models, you're going to use an API to go out and connect to that model and bring it back into your app. All right. Anyone have questions on that? I know that's a little deeper thing. We're going to do a couple of them, so it'll be easy for you to follow along. An easy tip is if you're building something and you need your app to do something complex, you could just type in Claude Code, find me an API that will allow me to do X. And it'll give you a whole list. It'll give you a bunch of options. You can go look at them. Some of them will be paid, some of them will be free, and you'll be able to sign up and get an API model. So, as an example, if we go to let me see if I go to this site, openrouter.ai, this is a single source where you can get one API and you can connect to almost every large language model. So yes, you could connect a bunch of APIs. You could go out to Claude Code, you could go to ChatGPT, you could go out to Hermes, you could go out to Kilo. This, you can sign up, you can buy credits, you'll get one API key, and you can literally connect to thousands and thousands of models. You can read what the model's for. So Quen, what is it best for? Tells you how much it costs. If you're just starting out using APIs, I would suggest this openrouter.ai. And it's just in the chat for you now. I would click on that, save it. That's going to be your easy key for everything related to APIs when it comes to that. All right. So let's talk about, I'm going to actually skip ahead, I think, and we're going to actually build something together. And then I'm going to come back to, can you connect two large language models such as Manus and Claude? You could connect those. You would just be doing it in code. So you would go out, connect to Manus, you would store that response, and you would feed that response through an API into Claude. So hopefully that answers that. Okay. Can we drop in? Let's build something together. And I'm going to show you, I just want you to experience actually building something, and I want it to move rather fast for you. So if you can drop this URL that's on the screen for the app briefs, Latoya. What we've created here is 5 pre-built stories that you can build. I want you to just select one of them and we're going to use it together. So what does that mean? You're going to go onto this page. Do you have that there? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So click that link. It's going to take you out to a web page. This web page is going to be available for you after the session. I just want you to go down, and there are 5 apps here. One is an AI meeting prep sheet. So you're going to, if you build this, you're literally just going to be able to drop a name and a URL, and a one-page briefing is going to pop out all about that company and the people there. The second one is paste to review and get 3 responses. You can do an instant quote calculator, you can do an SOP generator, and a lead magnet builder. If you come down to the bottom, all I want you to do is you can first open the brief and read exactly what you would be telling Claude to do for you. And then I want you to copy the full brief for the one that you want. So you're literally just going to hit copied. And then let's go back to Claude. And in this case, I want you to go not to Claude Code. We're going to go to the home button and scroll all the way down, and you should see something called design. And design is going to look just like this. Design is where you want to start most of your projects. Why do you want to do that? Because if you describe it in Claude Design, it's going to come up with lots of looks and feels for you, and it's very easy to make adjustments, change colors, change fonts, get it looking exactly like you want. And it's far cheaper to do it in Claude Design and get your thinking right before you go build it in code. So if you go to that web page, select the brief that you want to do, and you're just going to come in here and you're going to, I guess that is not, is my screen showing Claude? Is it showing Claude Design?
Yes.
It is? No.
Oh,
Okay, so here's Claude Design. It should open up like this. And you're just going to paste it in there, and you're going to hit enter. And it's going to start designing for you. So again, where you find Claude Design is if you go to the top of Claude, there's home, there's code, go to home, then go all the way down to the bottom, and there's a button called design. And I want you to just work through this once. Pick the one that you want, answer the questions. So I'm going to say in this case, follow my spec. I'm going to do a real Claude call. I'm going to do, you know, the states that I want. Right. So you're gonna, this is just helping you think through things. And then it's going to start designing for you.
Jonathan, I might have missed it. Where did you paste that code? Did you paste it in the top?
Yeah, on Claude Design.
Yep, got it.
Yep.
And
You're just gonna
blank, it says choose a template. Do we not choose a template?
you don't need to choose a template. What the
Okay.
templates are is you could save like your design file. So like Sales Boss is this red and black and white. So we have it saved. So everything we do there and create there sort of starts with that feel. So for every brand you have, right? But you can see now it's actually building this out for me. This is exactly what this meeting brief, I chose the meeting brief. And this is exactly what it would build for me. So if I wanted to change something on the left here, I could describe any changes that I wanted. All right, if you're working on the design brief, if you could just put in the chat design brief, then that way I'll know you're with me. I'm not too far ahead of you. And again, you can switch to this even if you don't have GitHub or Vercel connected yet. Those are super easy things to do. Good, good. Scott, which one did you choose? Benicia, great. SOP, great. Lead magnet, great. So you're going to I want you to, at some point, you're going to come into design and play around with it. You can notice you can edit things in here. You can look at the actual code. You don't need to do any of that. But once you have your brief done for this, and I would just use the one that it gives you, you literally can click in here and, you know, I can type exactly what I want here. So it gives me a lot of control, right? But I can go share, and I can either do uh, a uh, a PDF. I can export it as the HTML, PowerPoint. I can look at the other formats here if I want to. So you notice you can put it into other products. I could send it directly to Vercel. In this case, I'm just going to send it to Claude Code, right? And I'm going to do the local agent. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go over to Claude Code. And you see how it is. I'm going to do a new project in Claude Code. I'm going to paste that in there. And then if you go back to our web page, this copy the handoff prompt for the app, I would hit copy there. Just paste that right in the top of your browser. And now you see I'm giving it more design direction. If I hit send, it's literally going to start building that for me in code. And again, you can set your large language model to whatever you want. I probably should have went to Sonnet because it'll be faster. And this is not that. Doesn't require that much thinking because this is a really basic app.
So we're taking it from design to code, Jonathan?
Yep. So yes. Did you see where I did that at?
I did not. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So I'm showing my screen again. Can you see I'm in code?
Yep.
Or I'm in design? You're just going to come up here to share. And you could do any of these. You could do a PDF and drag it in there. I'm going to just go down to more formats and apps. And I'm going to see where it says destination, Claude Code.
Yep.
And I'm going to hit send. And then I'm just going to hit copy prompt. And this here is now on my clipboard. And then when I go over to code, I just dropped it in the chat and hit enter. And now it's starting to do it. And now I would go off and get a coffee, use the restroom, and let my employee work. All right, drop any questions that you have in the chat. Claude Design, you're going to go, I'm showing it on my screen now, Philip, if you can see that. Are you seeing my screen? You're going to go just where your code is. You're going to go to the left button where it says home. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and it'll say design. And we're going to click on design. And when I click on design, it's going to give me a screen that looks like this. Awesome. And Lenka dropped a link as well. Yep. Scott, yes, you can install. This is exactly what it's going to ask you to do. It's going to tell you the things that it needs. So in this case, it's asking you to install Node.js. So you'll just hit yes. And if you don't know how, you just say how. And most of the time, it's going to take care of it for you. And if you're a curious person, sometimes you can just ask, what is Node.js? And this is how you're going to learn some of the technical terms around development that it's not critical for you to know, but as you learn terms, it's going to be easier for you to pay attention to what's happening in the build. All right, so how's everyone doing? Are you seeing a project come to life for you? Who has something they can see now? All right, Regina's got something. Good. You don't have to fill in the information. You're just, Rachel, you're just building the program, what it looks like. So once you have what it looks like, you're just going to take it in the design. Now realize in design, you can you could give it feedback. You could say, hey, I want the font to be red instead of black. I'd like to have a picture. Just describe what you want, the changes. It'll continue to make the changes. Yes, in design, Rachel, that's exactly what you do. And then in there, when you finally have what you like, and I would just go with what it presents the first time because I'm more interested in you experiencing how they connect together. You're going to go up to the upper right, the share, and I'm showing that again in my window that's open now. So if you look back at Zoom, you're going to do the upper right share button. You're going to go all the way down to the bottom where it says more formats and apps, and you're going to send it to Claude Code. And then Claude Code is taking that design and building it for you. So again, remember how I said to think about these as employees? This Claude design is a agent that has the skills of a designer. It knows what layouts work. It knows what fonts go with what colors. It knows all of the things around building a great layout. That's why we're going to start there. And it's a lot cheaper from a credit standpoint, right? Because you're paying for credits in these agents. It's a lot cheaper to do it in design. You have a lot more control over what it's going to look like. When you give it to Claude, it's going to build it exactly like design shows it to you. So easier to make the mistakes inside of the design platform. All right, once you have it built in Claude Code, you'll simply say, let's see. So I've got it here. It's still running. It's going to take a little while, I guess. When it's done, I'm going to say, push this to Vercel. Rachel, you're going to the website that we gave you. Build it yourself. I'll drop it in the chat right now again. I would just, okay, you're gonna say copy the full brief for whichever one of those projects you want, and then you'll design that. So I don't know which one you chose. I gave you 5 options there. These are just examples to play with. Yep. Okay, so you're building an AI meeting prep sheet. So what this is going to be is it's going to be an app where you can put a URL in. Let's say you're having a meeting with ABC company. You could put abc.com and it would go out and research and give you all the prep work for that meeting. That's what you're building. There you go. People are building. Cheryl, feel like you have a dial up, still creating. Yeah, well, your internet speed does make a difference, but here's the thing, is realize that what you're building in Claude Code would probably take months for a developer to do. It's real work, and it does still take time. So there are times when I'm creating a project where I will have Claude Code running for hours to create something meaningful. You have to put that in the context of what it would take in the real world to do that, right? Any of these projects that we're just doing right now would be a minimum of $50,000 and a couple of months worth of effort under any previous thing. So you can see in the one that I'm building, it's very straightforward. However, it's still running. Now, here it is. It's finally built it. Right? And it's checking it now. It's previewing it to make sure it looks right. And then the last thing I would do is say, let's deploy this on Vercel. And I'm going to just put that now. Deploy on Vercel on a fresh project when complete. And that's all I'm going to say. And because Vercel is connected, it's going to connect Vercel and it's going to save a copy on GitHub. All right, give me a thumbs up in the comment if you at least understand the concept, you feel comfortable that you're going to be able to work your way through that. Then I'm going to move on. Okay, Rachel, you don't need a company and all their information to finish it. It's all you're building out is the framework. Okay, good. So people are getting it. They're understanding how all that comes together. Great. Yeah. So you did the lead magnet. You're uploading your brand design. Okay. So let's discuss the iteration concept. I want to be able, I'm gonna go back to um, I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint. Is my PowerPoint showing? No. Okay. Well, I'm going to share it again then, because I think this will be helpful. Desktop one. All right. Now are you seeing? Yes. Okay. So here's the thing that most people get wrong. We've discussed how do you take something. If you remember going back to the very beginning, we're building this Claude Code. We're describing what it is that we want. We can do that in Claude Design. We can give it to Claude Code. It'll build it. It's going to store on GitHub. It's going to live on Vercel, and we have this backend. But the challenge most people have when they get into building with AI is they skip the planning phase. I want you to think about the fact that programming is easy with AI doesn't mean that you shouldn't still follow good process. So, what is the process that companies use when they're designing software? There are two things that every software development company goes through. They're on your screen now. One is called a PRD. It stands for Product Requirement Document. It literally lists out what does the product need to do? What's it required to do? Product Requirement Document. So you're going to describe what am I building? Why am I building? What's the problem? Who am I building it for? What does a win look like? What am I leaving out of version 1? And that's causing you to do the thinking up front. So let's suggest you're building a coaching app. You would describe the problem. This problem is for somebody who is experiencing XYZ. It's typically, and you might even describe their age, you might describe their sex if there's a difference between the user being a man or a woman, and a win's going to look like Y. And here are the things I want it to do. That's called a product requirement. The other thing that every developer uses is something called user stories. And the user is describing the human that's going to use your app. So as an example, maybe you have an administrative user. And so you're going to describe how does the administrative user use your app? You might have a prospect that uses your platform. How does the prospect? And you're literally going to describe it in something that sounds like this. Could be as a prospect, I want to find information so that I can XYZ, right? What this is going to allow Claude to do is to say, here's what my product is required to do, and here's who I'm doing it for. And because it's a large language model, it understands who these users are. It can research those users. It can research other tools. And you're going to come up with a crisper design and then a build. So I'm always going to start with a PRD. I'm going to create a user story, and then I'm going to go to a design. Now, that sounds like a lot of work, but I promise you, if you start that way, it'll be easier. I'm going to give you something that's going to make that job significantly easier for you. There are skills that you can load into Claude. You're going to copy this skill here, NPX skills. and we'll drop it in the comments for you. I want you to just copy and paste that in the chat box for your Claude. So every time you go into Claude now and you say, help me create a PRD for this app, it's going to pull up the skill and it's going to know exactly how to properly design a PRD. Or you're going to say, I'd like to create a user story, and it's going to walk you through how to do it. I'm giving you 5 skills here: PRD development, user story splitting, which means we can take the long story for user and we can break it up into pieces that are easy to develop in isolation. And then developing a roadmap is literally saying, what order should I build things in so I have a usable product before it's completely done? And then the final thing is a prioritization advisor. And you're simply going to be asking, once this skill is installed, which of these should I work on first, in what order? And it's going to be able to help you prioritize that using best practices for development. So that's a skill I want you to take, and let's install that. Once you install it, it will always exist for you.
Has anyone had success grabbing that yet?
Is it in the chat? Let's drop it in the chat. You see it up above? Link
Is it supposed to be a link?
Nope, it's not a link. You're going to copy and paste it right in the tool. So I'll show you in my Claude. You're going to literally come in. I would do a new one here. I'm just going to copy that. It's going to look just like that. You see what I did?
Yeah, it's, for whatever reason, it's not copying.
Copy it out of the chat.
Yeah, that's what I tried.
You can't? Oh.
Yeah.
I was able to copy. Well.
Yes. I'm not the only one with that issue.
Yeah. Where can we put that, Linka? Let's let me see if you can hand type it in as well. It's short.
Hand typing it will work?
Yeah, it will. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. If you just type it, it'll work. So it's $ space NPX space skills space add space Dean Peters / product manager skills. Now you see it'll come back like this, and it'll say the product manager skill installed 70 skills and 76 agents. So I'm going to just go down here and say list those skills and agents so you can see what is all been installed. And this is, if you go back to when we were talking about treating it as an employee, and we go back to this image here, right? When we think about a general agent and a specialist, we've just taken a general agent Claude and we've given it the skills of how do we want our products to work. That's what we've just done.
Jonathan, I got a quick question. Do you want me to, it's still building. Am I waiting till it's done before I drop that in, or can I drop it in just?
You can drop it in. What I would do is I would just open up a new window.
Okay. Drop it.
Right. Because you can run more than one Windows, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I could try that. And then my other question is, it's asking me to do, several steps, like open my documents,
Yep.
open with note. Do you want me to go through all that or just tell them I did it?
Yes, you want to do all that.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first time you run something in Claude, it's asking you to approve it. I'm guessing, who is it that's asking the question? I'm guessing that you have this permissions at the bottom with asking it to approve. You could go down to bypass permission and you see how it just installed all of it for me.
Okay, I think I just changed that to bypass permissions.
Yeah, it's a little faster.
Yeah.
And as long as you're confident that you can undo things, I don't see any reason not to use it. Sometimes I switch it to ask permissions if I'm getting into some sensitive information or an area where I'm not really certain what I'm doing. I ask it to ask me for approval because I want to make sure I really understand it before I do it. So when you get your product built, as here, you can see I said to deploy to Vercel. And you can see it shows me what got built. And it's live at this URL. Right? And it's saying that it didn't plug in my Anthropic API key. Remember, I told you we have to add the API key separately. We don't add them in Claude. So I would go out to Vercel and enter that. I'm going to show you where to do that, but I can go out now to Vercel. And here you see that is live now. And I can say what I'm meeting for, and then I could generate a brief, and it's going to create that for me. The reason it's not coming back is because I don't have an API key. So remember, it can't connect to a large language model yet. So where would I do that? I'm going to go out to Vercel. And I'm going to find my projects. And you see that it's here, class apps brief. That's the one I just created. And down here where it says environment variables, that's where I'm going to add my values. So if I had an API key, here's where I would put it. So my rule of thumb is never put API keys in Claude unless you really don't know what you're doing, and then put them in there, and then you'll switch them later because it will do it for you. It will set it up for you, and then it'll just ask you to rotate the keys.
Can I ask a question
Yes.
about that? So you said if we decided to go just have it run with the APIs at first, just to set everything up, we can go back in and change it.
Yeah, you can go, they call it rotating your keys.
Okay.
So basically the risk is, and I'll just explain the risk, is if somebody was able to get into your chat history in Claude, they would be able to see your codes. It'd be like leaving your credit card sitting on a counter.
Right.
Right. So, but if you knew you were going to cut that credit card up and get a new credit card number, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. So in every API, usually there's a button next to the code that just says rotate. and it'll automatically rotate the keys to a new one. So sometimes if you're struggling and it's not super sensitive, if I was doing it with Stripe, like my payments app, I would just get somebody to help me, right? And do it right. But if I'm connecting to a large language model, I'm connecting to a video model, something that's not, if somebody stole it, it's not gonna be a tragedy for me. I'm just gonna put my API keys in and ask it to put them in Vercel, and then I'm gonna go and just rotate the keys.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we're running up to the time that we committed to spend together. I hope everyone learned something. Your confidence level has gone up. The skills that you've learned today, this PowerPoint and the recording is going to be available to you. That's going to get emailed to you. If you conquer just these screens, these four things, you're going to have the ability to build almost anything. That early setup piece is the hardest part. Once they're set up, you never have to do them again. You just go in, you start a new project, and away you go. I would go into each of the apps themselves. I would go into Vercel. So as an example, you see Vercel is up here, right? And I can go in and I can just click through and start looking at all the things that are going on in there. You're not going to hurt anything. And you're going to start learning how things happen. And I always have an agent on the side. So I could ask it specifically, how do I put my API keys in? And it's going to show me in the platform exactly where I should be doing that at. Just treat it as an employee that knows what you're asking. Also, Claude Code has the ability to open your browser and do things on your behalf on your computer. So I could literally go into Claude Code and say, hey, could you open a browser, go to Vercel, and find the page that does this? And it will literally, you can watch it in your browser window, navigate, and take you right to that place. So get really comfortable just asking for help. So if you found this valuable, I would like to invite you. If you go to thesalesboss.ai, we do 2 full days, 24 hours with a third day if you're in our super VIP, where we go through live and build things like this with you, for you. My entire team's in the room with you. So we tend to have 10 to 12 people there helping the audience. A few people on the call here have been to those. Philip mentioned he'd been, you saw what he created. So I encourage you, the next one is sold out completely. I would encourage you, this code webinar 100 is going to be available just today. At the end of today, it's going to go dark. I would grab your seats at the next one. I believe, when's the next one, Lenka?
In September.
The next one's in September, so grab your spot there. We do them once a month. They sell out quick. Here's what I would encourage everyone. Commit yourself to being at the forefront of AI. The world is changing quickly. Your opportunity is greater than it's ever been, and people are further behind than you think. Even if you feel like you're just getting started, be like Philip, get in the room, and all of a sudden you're going to recognize what's possible. And once you have experienced it, you're going to be able to think about the future in an entirely different way. And you're going to be able to help the people around you as well. So with that, I'm going to end. Thank you for coming. Appreciate everyone being here. You can continue to message my team. We're going to email you. If you have questions, we're happy to help you sort through and get things going. Happy Wednesday and a good rest of your week. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. If you go to the salesboss.ai, we do have another webinar coming up next week. We're going to, in the next webinar, build out a personal assistant that can check your email, keep your schedule going. It's going to use all of the things that we utilize today. So you'll have already done all of the hookup of GitHub and Vercel, and none of that will need to take place for you. Have a good afternoon. Scott, were you able to build?
Hey, yeah, I got one question for you though, real
Yeah,
quick.
let's do it.
I'm trying to load the skills, but it's telling me it failed to add. It failed to add. I mean, all I should do is start a new chat, basically copy it in and hit enter.
That's it.
Yeah, it's telling me my options are to install that node, which I already did. And then it's saying if it's already installed to let me know where it is. So I guess I'll just have to play with it.
Yeah. Do you have the text that you need to enter?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. You might have slightly mistyped it.
I just copied it right from the thing.
Oh, okay. If you were able to copy it, it should work then.
Yeah, I copied it right from the
Okay.
thing. Yeah. Starts with the money sign. It's got a space, NPX.
Yeah.
Space.
Yep.
We had
The other thing
we had the same issue.
Yeah, the other thing you can do, Scott, is you could just go, you can, in the chat window, you could say, identify skills around product requirement documents and user stories, and it'll give you some other options as well. No, and treat it just like reviews, right? Like find one that has great reviews, has a lot of users.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I have not completed, to answer your other question, I have not completed the build yet. I got to go find the thing and do all the right clicking and stuff. But
Okay, awesome. Well, we're happy to help you. Look forward to seeing you sometime in person.
yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Sean.
Take care.